Good evening, everybody. This is Kane. I hope everybody is doing well. We are launching the Northwest San Pedro Planning Land Use Meeting at 5:50. And Thomas, if you could start with the roll call and the welcome
Well,
while I pull up the agenda.
welcome everybody, and just please affirm if you are attending. I see Chair Kane, Nicholas is here, so I'll do that one. I didn't get a note from Rock Ashfield. I don't see that he's present. Is there an excused absence?
No, there is none.
Okay. Jason Herring did request excused absence. He had a standing conflict, so I've got that in my email. Thomas Norman, I'm present. Sam Rampy, I did not get an email or text requesting an excused absence. Did you as the co-chair?
No, I did not.
Okay. Brooke Smith, though, I think you did, right? And we tried to accommodate Brooke, so he's absent but excused. And then
Okay.
I don't think either of us heard from Garrett, and Garrett's not here. So pretty low. We do not have quorum currently, so we will not be able to vote on any items of business, unfortunately, unless some people show up. We've got text reminders out. Oh, I just got a text.
Yes, and I did get a message from Garrett. He did say he was going to be able to attend,
Okay.
but he may have a conflict, so he may jump in a little bit later.
All right. So that concludes the roll, and then I guess I'll just have to take notes here. And then attending as a guest and a stakeholder, we've got Adrian. So thank you for coming, Adrian. Thank you for coming, Amanda, and thank you for coming, Mike. And that's Adrian Fernandez, Amanda Enriquez, and Mike Tunney for the record.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We're gonna get right into it. As this is a special meeting, we are looking to discuss the John S. Gibson chassis project. We do have Mike here on the call if anybody wants to answer any questions, but we do primarily we have a draft that we've been circulating amongst the committee. And what I will do is I will put those items up here on the report on the thing here. Uh, All right.
It's still the agenda screen.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay. So let me know when you can see it, everyone.
yep, looks good.
Okay. And this looks like another one. I apologize. It's not the correct ones. Oh, I'm missing today, everybody. Missing. Got a lot of files with Gibson in it.
We've been discussing this project for many years.
Yes, yes, we have. No worries. Take your time, King.
Um,
I think Jason and I are the only two who've been discussing it since we met Mike.
Yeah, I know. That was almost 2 years ago.
Some things change, some things don't.
Yeah, exactly.
But while he's pulling it up, Mike, maybe you want to update any progress at other neighborhood councils, because I think that's causing, I
Yeah.
think there's been some change in opinion. I've heard, I think
Yes.
some you're pleased with probably from those, but I can
So
let you report on that.
I would say three big updates. Since we've all gotten together last, is we went to the Harbor Board of Commissioners on June 11th. And prior to that, we did get letters of support from Coastal San Pedro Neighborhood Council, a conditional support letter. So they had some project design features and considerations and mitigation measures, almost, if you will, like a pseudo planning commission of things they would like to see for the project in order to, have their support. And then we also had the same similar letter of support from the Harbor City Neighborhood Council that also had some additional, um, you know, conditional support asks. And then on June 11th, we went to the Harbor Board of Commissioners and we received an approval for the Port Master Plan Amendment and our project. So, and then since then, we've been, doing some more workshop and outreach with Wilmington. We still are trying to get to a place to get their support as well. Um, and then where we left off last, with you guys, due to the schedules kind of always shifting. That's why there've been some delays to get back together with you all. And I had participated in a little workshop with you guys, a planning workshop, and then was hoping to workshop with you guys here. Thank you for having us in your planning and port committee to address any of your kind of concerns for the project or recommendations, but we also want to get to a place with Northwest where you guys can, provide a letter of support and with your kind of conditions to make sure that we can address your kind of conditions and concerns. And then since as far as our community benefits are concerned, um, we have I don't know if you have the latest kind of community benefits, but um, we have essentially um, agreed to as a project, to have a community workforce agreement with local hire within CD15 and veteran hire. We have committed to a 10-year, and this is all upon like getting a building permit and the project moving forward, but a 10-year commitment with the Boys and Girls Club of the Harbor area for funding for their career bound and college bound programs. Um, we have a commitment to the Toberman Center for the contribution for their graduation dinner fund. The Boys and Girls Club is actually a 10-year commitment right now, where we would donate like 25,000 a year to their fund that will go towards career bound and college bound programs. Again, Toberman Center would be a contribution to their dinner fund. We also met with the Wilmington Teen Center and agreed to buy some new computers and commitment to some new gear for their boxing gym. Um, we had a commitment, a one-time financial commitment to banning high school football for dinners and uniforms. Um, and then Harbor City, they have a high school kind of banner program that we've committed to, matching a contribution for them. In addition to maintaining annual memberships at the San Pedro Chamber of Commerce and the Wilmington Chamber of Commerce, and then committing to quarterly project updates to the local neighborhood councils. And then I talked to, I may have mentioned earlier, we have two more things that we're looking to finalize in the next 24 to 48 hours to really tie a lot of this stuff together, which I can update you on that like tomorrow or the next day. Happy to call you or email you, but it would be essentially another potential commitment to the community and then another project design feature. Um, and then outside of those kind of community benefits, we did commit to apply for grants for the future electrification of the site, which is a large project, which would help towards the Clean Air Action Plan. So we'd be applying for two to three different grants in order to get the funding to do that because it's a giant cost, but we've committed to do that as well. And then I had already mentioned the kind of conditions that we're integrating into the project based upon feedback given from Coastal San Pedro and Harbor City Neighborhood Council. So we've added those, which hopefully you've seen their support letters and their conditions both. Um, and then we've committed with the LA Harbor Police Department that will work with the Harbor Police on a security plan. And there's a portion of our property that has um, they call it like a higher level that kind of looks into their training facility or their parking lot. So we just committed to do a block wall fence on that property line to help with their site security and then ensuring that we'll have closed circuit television with the police. Because, sometimes they do their little trainings before they go out into the field there. So they
Uh,
want to make sure that they call it the high ground, that their high ground's protected. So we've committed to that. And yeah, I saw I'm here to answer any more questions that you guys have. Hopefully that was a good update. So I appreciate your guys' patience and flexibility on the schedule, but we want to continue to work with you and get your guys' support. So happy to, I'm calling this a workshop, but happy to answer any other questions that you have and then review this accountability plan draft.
Yes, thank you, Mike. As we talked about before, when we were starting the project, this particular committee is we're talking about accountability. Traffic has been a big conversation within our neighborhood council and then specifically in the committee. Obviously, the environment has been a conversation as well. So we're continuing to have those pieces of input inserted. And thank you again for attending a workshop a community workshop where we're looking to develop a process on how to work with developers. So thank you for participating in that. Our plan, and again, it's summertime and things are clearly not going the way that according to schedule, but ultimately having a proper workshop versus a Q&A, so that we can kind of close it off and things like that. And so we'll move this as best as we can to move the community's agenda forward. That being said, I have the letter up finally, which is a draft. Most people here have received a copy of the draft, again from a high level. But for the record, I will briefly read it for those who have not received it. Um, and so again, as a conditional support for the John F. Gibson truck and chassis parking lot project. And dear Councilmember McCosker, on the behalf of the Northwest San Pedro Neighborhood Council, we respectfully submit this letter of conditional support for the proposed John S. Gibson truck and chassis parking lot project. Northwest San Pedro recognizes the potential value of the project in helping improve truck and chassis management, reduce unauthorized parking, support safer circulation, and address long-standing site conditions. We also acknowledge that the development team, including Mike Tunney, has communicated with the community, conducted outreach, and made efforts to engage stakeholders and respond to neighborhood concerns. At this stage in the process, Northwest San Pedro believes that any support should be tied to clear community accountability. Because neighborhood councils do not have direct enforcement authority, once a project is approved and operating, we believe it is important that community-facing expectations be documented before operations begin. Accordingly, Northwest San Pedro conditionally supports the project subject to the applicant providing and implementing a written community accountability plan that includes the following. Number one, a designated community contact for complaints, operational concerns, and emergency coordination. Number two, a complaint and incident log for issues such as truck idling, unauthorized parking, queuing, noise, lighting, trash, graffiti, blocked access, and safety concerns. Number three, a clear response timeline for acknowledging, reviewing, and addressing community concerns. Number four, defined duties for the on-site attendant, including monitoring truck activities, discouraging idling, communicating site rules, documenting incidents, and escalating recurring issues. Number five, anti-idling, truck management, traffic coordination, and emergency response procedures. Number six, ongoing site maintenance standards for landscaping, fencing, lighting, signage, screening, and the project perimeter. Number seven, quarterly community updates to Northwest San Pedro during the first year of operations. And number eight, an escalation process for unresolved or reoccurring concerns involving the appropriate city, Los Angeles Port, public safety, or enforcement agencies. Northwest San Pedro supports responsible development that balances port operations, public safety, environmental responsibility, and neighborhood quality of life. Our conditional support is based on the understanding that the applicant will continue engaging in good faith with the community and that the accountability of measures above will be documented in writing and incorporated where appropriate into the project's operating framework, conditions, lease terms, mitigation measures, or other enforceable documents. Thank you for your consideration and continued attention to the concerns of Northwest and the surrounding harbor area communities. And that naturally would be signed by our president if this were to go. And so that is the letter as read. Again, I want to open up the discussion while we don't have a quorum. I definitely want to we want to open up the discussion so that way we can be constructive to not only what Mr. Mike Tunney has said and added to the conversation, but our letter and as well as your input in this conversation. So I open up the floor to those who have to anyone who wants to be recognized. And
Oh, um, I'm happy to raise my hand on that if anyone else, unless anyone else that wants to speak.
anyone, any effect, because you had a little airtime, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, that's cool.
Community, are there any questions or concerns or additions? How can we make this better to the benefit of the community? This is the space to make that happen. And we're still in draft mode, and we can still, make this better. So, this is the time. I see that Adrian Fernandez has raised his hand, and can you speak, Adrian? Do you have, probably not.
Yes, I can speak. This is very quickly related to the LAPD. I'm assuming that the development has some sort of existing agreement with LAPD. My only concern, and I've supported this, I've supported this project, but given the fact that um, LAPD station's right there, and that's a pretty busy street in John F. Gibson. How does truly, I might have missed it, but like, how does it you know, you have trucks coming in and out. How does that, let's say there is a backup, like a blockage, right? And then you have an LAPD, car that has to get out and go to an emergency. How does the project sort of mitigate that and ensure that, if there is, let's say possibly, trucks backed up that, LAPD is able to get out there and go where they need to go.
Well, hi, Adrian. Without our project right now, that, trucks are using that street and that may occur in front of their driveway. Or, well, I mean, we've had over 10 meetings with them just as their neighbor and over the history of this project. Overall, they want to see the site developed um, because of the history of issues there. But I think that the direction this is going, like, I think Kane has put in the letter calling it a community accountability plan, and some of the conditions we've kind of committed to from the other neighborhood councils would involve coordination between those agencies and them being our neighbor essentially. We're going to be committed to briefings and kind of communication on our specific project and project traffic flows, and if there's any issues that need to be addressed with them in terms of issues created from our development, that we can address those patterns or movements and assess the data that we have when we're in operations and with the user and kind of coordinate those with any of our particular users. So happy to bake that issue out a little bit more in writing, and maybe in our community accountability plan we could clarify that.
Yes, I think that would be good because you said May. and I don't want to ensure a may. I want to make sure, if there
Oh no,
is,
yeah, 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 yeah,
that what happens,
yeah, yeah.
there
I
isn't
think
an issue.
I have it. I do have that in enforcement and operations. It is something that is written down as part of the kind of voluntary, I'm calling them voluntary project design considerations, but essentially it's a memo of community benefits and project commitments. And coordination with the LAPD Harbor Station is paramount, to make sure that we're aligned on the same page there. So yeah, happy to further spell that one out, how that mechanically works. But we've got a few different contexts we've been working with over there, and we could get that down in writing.
Okay. And then my second question is, given the fact that there's that development over at Phillips 66, there is going to be that like tunnel under the freeway. Would that be a usage? Would trucks be able to go through that tunnel as well? Or any, trucks that are coming out of that proposed site where there will be warehouses will be able to use that parking lot as well?
To use our lot would be leased essentially to an operator.
Oh,
So
okay. It'd be up to the
yeah, it
operator's
wouldn't.
discretion.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be up to what the fleet is and the operator what it ultimately is coming in and out of that lot. So it wouldn't be a public lot essentially for the Phillips people to use. Although it
Yeah.
is to our northern boundary, it is not connected.
Yeah. I mean, those are my two questions. I just feel
Yeah.
that that is a big street, right? And I just want to make sure with all the things that are going on
Yeah.
around that area, that there's that, given that there will be congestion, that we're able to, the development and the community are able to mitigate those congestions. But
Yeah.
those are my two. Thank you.
You got
And
it.
I
And
would
then oh
love to
and
see this go through.
yeah,
Thank
and
you.
one other element, Adrian, too, is that we've worked through with three different agencies on getting a stoplight approved. So that's going to also help with flows on that street as well, and safety and movements. So that's one other point of project design that should help with safety on the street, safety and flow.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, I like that. I think we need more stop signs. Just
Yeah.
hopefully they'll blow them.
Okay. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Adrian. I'm recognizing Amanda.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. I think I'm the only lady here. Good to see you all. I don't really have a question. I am working with Mike and the project. So I just wanted to kind of assist him in his answer to Adrian. I think that the goal of the project is to mitigate like the traffic that we see now driving down John F. Gibson, like the truck after truck after truck. The not only the queuing in the entrance of the parking lot, but also some of the like route management systems. If there is something that's happening in, in the area, they are able to let trucks know, hey, don't come down here right now. Um, and as opposed to what's happening now, trucks don't really have a professionally managed system to know that, oh, the light on, Pacific and John F. Gibson is out, or you know what I mean. There's a fire underneath the freeway or something, and so there's a lot of backed up traffic, and so I think those like softwares and actually having the location there for those trucks to go is the also going to help to mitigate or actually alleviate all of those potential issues. And then my understanding for the tunnel that they're putting in the Phillips 66 is going to be to get access to the warehouses that they're putting there. So I don't know that it's going to be an actual ramp on or off the freeway, but a way that they are going to be able to access their property from John S. Gibson to all of the warehouses that they're putting on their property. So unless one of those organizations that are utilizing those warehouses are also parking their trucks. They kind of both will be an alleviation, if you will, of the traffic because there will be warehousing closer, so trucks don't have to go as far, which will take some off the road. And so I just wanted to add those two things.
Okay,
Thank you.
did you hit record? Oh yeah, okay, we got record there. Um, then I had a question. Did John from John's iPhone want to identify? You're not required to, but if you wanted to speak, it might sometimes it's harder for phone people. So I wanted to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself if you chose and ask any questions. And we'll wait 5 seconds, and if not, we'll please continue, Chair Kane.
Yeah, I think that might be Garrett, but I'm unsure. Um, that being said, what's my concern? My concern for the project is around again accountability. Mike, when oh, so it is Garrett. Garrett is AKA.
Okay, I'll change the attendance then. Thank you.
Thank you, Garrett, for sending me a note. The issue is again around accountability. There's a lot of players and developers in town,
Yep.
and how do we without putting creating another job or role, right? This is a business, but there's an obligation to the community, and so maintaining some sort of a relationship, a real relationship, that can continue for the years. So, um, I like the project personally, um, but I'm really excited about the future relationship that you're building and your team is building with Northwest. So, but there will be a time when you're not directly involved with the project.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Also,
Um, well, that's the plan right now is to build it and then lease it.
hmm
So I would remain involved. And
Okay.
if anything were to, anything we memorialize around the project approval is supposed to stay with the land and stay with the project.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Just 1 second here. I think I have a question coming up on my phone. One of our members is having some technical difficulties. Okay, member, if you're going to send it to me, send me partial. There we go. Uh, okay. Okay, and this is from Garrett, a stakeholder committee member. Can't speak, and I'll read it verbatim. I can't speak, but I would like to note I am in favor of this project and appreciate Mike's commitment to building a relationship with the community. End text. So thank you, Garrett, for that input. That's really important, that there's input. So. I've said what I needed to say, and we've had some really, good discussion. Thank you again for the updates.
Yeah.
Uh, Thomas, did you have anything that you wanted to close with?
No, we need four for a quorum, so we're at three, so we're still one shy. We can't take any action. You know, I really wanted to hear from Jason. I wanted to hear from Brooke, make sure we hear things. I think we're seeing if you look at the past votes, right, there was many more opposed, some years ago when we started this. So there's now a good group in favor. I personally, like the progress, kind of like the coastal president. I know I'm not sure what you're going to do, and you don't need to disclose Mike or Amanda, on the appeal process. I know there's a setback, but I'm sure community support from Northwest San Pedro would be, helpful,
Yes. So,
perhaps changing minds in the council member's office. So I kind of know in the summer, though there might be more support, not enough, for everybody to want to come in on the summer, just a quorum here so we can actually take action next meeting. So just that's kind of the way this process goes.
yeah.
Wished, we texted, tried to get some folks in, but that's not where we're at. So I don't think we should belabor it. I don't have anything new to add. Again, I'm just grateful that we're going through this process. And just wanted to call the co-chair's attention. We need to make sure we have public comment on other issues. I think we listed them first, so make sure we do that, and then we could probably conclude this meeting unless there's anybody else who wants to speak. But definitely want to. I'd recommend we move on from 3 and go back to 2. Officially have a pause there for anybody to do that, and then we can adjourn and get to more formal non-Brown acted
Thank you.
activities.
Yes, thank you. I do have the agenda up. Um, I'll let it breathe. And that being said, we'll move on to item number 2. For thank you again, Mike, for your participation, and thank you for the questions from everybody in the comments.
Yeah, thank you.
As far as public comment, as a co-chair, um, to the committee, or actually, is this a public comment? Yes, to the committee. Um, we want to do our best to send a notice that if you're going to be able to attend the meeting, we got a lot of great issues. And I do want to keep that at the forefront, in order to stay vigilant, and stay engaged. If there's anything that you need to, I'm all for changing the meeting times, and we're doing our best to accommodate with our real life schedules, but we do need to have quorums in order to move the business. We also have been juggling the joint meetings as well as our Northwest meetings. And so I do want to put it on the floor on a mode of operandi for this summer. While we will definitely be looking to have our August meeting, how do we want to look at our local Northwest planning, land use, and port meetings? Or is it just comment, no discussion?
Um, I think we should try to have the committee meet so we have two chances. Like I do think we're more likely to get quorum at the joint meeting of Northwest, where we can just pull an item if people have a proposal. We get to possibly vote on that there, and then we can do other things. But as I'm working, I guess for non-agenda items, and I guess I'm actually not general public, but we don't have the one for me to speak as a board member. I have reached out to Council Member McCosker's office and got the point person to discuss Phillips 66. I've asked for Northwest because that's really important. I've had to do a couple requests. I looped the co-chair in this last email when I made some progress with Axel to find out who we need to meet with, and we want to have a regular monthly cadence with that office. And then, somebody should be reporting to one of our meetings there. So we get into a little bit better habit. And I will say it's been helpful, Mike, for me to watch how Coastal's handled this, because I see Congressperson Barragan's representative goes regularly. I'm happy I've got Senator Laura Richardson's staffer. Brian's been pretty good about coming to the joint meetings, but want to make sure that people understand there's a lot of important things going on San Pedro that affect us. Phillips 66, I think this is an important project, and then the Vincent Thomas Bridge, which has state, and federal implications. There are a lot of things affecting the community, so maybe that will help us get better attendance too if we have, people feel that the other elected decision makers with a little bit more pull are paying attention to what we do in this committee. So, but on the other hand, being on this for several years, I know it's really tough. I mean, I think I've been with people who just said, let's not even try to do July because it's so close to the 4th and people don't want an extra meeting. So, good on you, Kane, for trying to pull it together. And thank you, Garrett, for joining by phone. But that's my thought. But so for Mike, I'm at least committed. I think I'm probably 90% confident we'll have enough people to vote on it in a few weeks' time at that joint meeting. And if not, then for sure we should try to meet again in August. If that was your question, I hope I didn't misinterpret, Kane. But I think we should try to keep the cadence. But again, I'm going to stop talking because I think we can, if we keep these to 30 minutes and we just don't go on and on, we're more likely to come too. Who wants, most people don't want to sit and listen to things for 90 minutes. So with that said, yield my time and move us closer to adjournment.
Thank you. I just wanted to let the air breathe on that. If there are no other, comments, we can definitely look to adjourn, and it would be a proper 30 minutes as we officially started on at the 5:50. I don't see any hands. I'm gonna move to adjourn. Although,
Second.
or since we don't have a quorum.
Yeah. Well, with this we can vote on. We can't vote on things that substant. We can vote on starting and ending the meeting. That's what I'll do.
I move that we close the meeting.
All right.
Okay.
At least stop recording. We could have
Thank
stopped the official meeting.
Thank you guys. Appreciate your time and input, and
Yeah.
looking forward to whenever the next step is. I'll
Yeah.
make sure